Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about something very special, and that is this, the Harrelson 5mm Modular Mouthpiece experience. However, first let's just talk a little bit about mouthpieces in general. Now, when people go out and look for a professional grade instrument, they might look for certain characteristics, certain metals, certain combinations, whatever, but it's often overlooked just how important a mouthpiece is. And it's something that's very mind-boggling when you go into it. See, every manufacturer of mouthpieces has a million different designs, sizes, variations, options to the mouthpiece, and frankly, unless you want to get an advanced PhD or something in it, it can be an absolute minefield. And it certainly doesn't help that different manufacturers will say that their mouthpiece is capable of helping you play the highest notes, the fullest sound, the darkest tone, it'll do your laundry for you, it'll mow your lawns, all these sort of claims. And it's really easy to get all stuck with that. So let's have just a few facts, or facts as they are, have made themselves clear to me. There is no single mouthpiece out there that will work identically for every single person who plays it. Every trumpet player or every brass instrument player will have a unique combination of facial structure, lip size, embouchure, jaw positioning, etc. Second fact, if you find one mouthpiece that works brilliantly for you and one particular trumpet, and you go and take it out and put it into a completely different trumpet, you might find that suddenly that mouthpiece doesn't work as well for you anymore, and you're seemingly back at square one. That's because there is a special relationship between the acoustical properties and the physics properties of a mouthpiece and a trumpet that can be broken when you change either the mouthpiece or the trumpet out. Third fact, working out whether one particular mouthpiece is better over a slightly different one can take a lot of time. When you pick up a new mouthpiece and you just play a few tunes on it, you can't really get a good idea of whether that mouthpiece is just for you. Sometimes you'll be able to immediately tell whether it's completely useless, but when you're talking about making, just a few % difference, it takes a long time to work out that whether one is going to be better than another. And the fourth fact that I want to briefly just mention is that most people do not have access to the sort of facility where they can have an array of mouthpieces and they can, at their leisure, pick one, try it out for a little while, then choose another one, try that out for a little while. Certainly here in New Zealand, I haven't seen any place that allows you to do that. So if this is our problem, what does the solution look like? Certainly we would want something where we can individually modify the characteristic of each mouthpiece that we play, fine-tuning it to get the right results. We would want access to a person or a group of people that can help us sort that out, because unless you know what you're talking about, it's very much like the blind leading the blind. And then you would want to be able to fine-tune that mouthpiece as you go without having to invest in a completely new model every time you find something to improve on. Does that solution sound like something that we've got at the moment? Well, I would have said no until I came across the Harrelson 5mm Modular Mouthpiece Kit. What does 5mm stand for? Well, it stands for 5-piece modular mouthpiece. It's actually got 6 pieces, but we're going to call it the 5-piece modular mouthpiece because one of those pieces apparently is too insignificant to be counted. I'm going to be putting 2 videos together, at least, about the Harrelson Modular Mouthpiece. On this first video, we're just going to go through what you get in the kit, what it does, what it looks like, how you put it together, and in the second video we're going to do some comparisons between using one of these mouthpieces in some of the various configurations that you've got, and then just using some off-the-shelf mouthpieces. So before we go any further, I just want to make it very clear that the product that you get from Harrelson's and potentially other products like that on the market, they're very much the top of town sort of a solution. It's not going to be necessary for most people to worry about the individual components of a mouthpiece because for most people, an off-the-shelf mouthpiece is going to be able to enable them to do all of the things that they need to do. This sort of product is really designed at professionals who need to be able to squeeze every last drop of performance out of each piece of equipment that they use. Anyway, without any more of these ados that I've been going on with, what I'd like to do is take you over to my bench, and we're going to have a look at the inside of this special wooden box. This is what the Harrelson 5mm Modular Mouthpiece kit looks like. The standard kit includes 9 pieces. So if we want to put together one of these mouthpieces, what we will do is grab ourselves a rim, we will grab ourselves a cup, we will thread the two into each other thusly. We will then choose a throat. This throat will then get inserted like that. We will then choose a body. I've got 2 bodies here. I've got a trumpet one in brushed gold, and I've got a cornety sized one that's just in raw brass. We will get the body, we will thread this in like this. We will then choose our back bore. The back bore gets threaded in like that, and then the nut will just hold the back bore on just to ensure that it doesn't get loose. And here we have our completed Harrelson 5mm Modular Mouthpiece. As you can see with this kit, there are obviously a lot of components that I haven't used, and these are here to enable me to swap out individual pieces. For instance, I could take the nut off and I could change my back bore for something a little bit different, one of these other ones. I could take the rim off and choose a different size rim or a different shaped cup or anything like that. Each of these components has got little numbers on them that are engraved that will show you what size it is and the different parameters for each component, and that will give you an idea as to which of these other components this particular component is going to fit best with. One of the questions that you might have at this stage is to simply ask, why would you want to have the ability to swap out all the internal components of your mouthpiece? Why would you not simply use something that comes out of the factory pre-assembled? And the answer to that is about personal choice, and it's also about working out what is going to work best for you. So if we look at these 2 rims here, they have slightly different diameters, they've got slightly different profiles, and so they're going to feel slightly different on your face. If we look at some of these 4 trumpet throats that I've got here, we'll find that some of them have got a different profile. The attack of the curve as it decreases down to the central hole is different. The diameter of that hole in the middle is different for some of these throats, and that gives us different playing characteristics. What you might find when you put together a particular mouthpiece is that it feels nice on your face, but you may find that the throat is too constricted, so you can simply change out the throat for something more open, and then away you go again and see whether that works for you. You may find that on a particular trumpet, one back bore fits perfectly and feels great, gives you the results you're after, but then on another trumpet, to get the ideal results, you need another size back bore. With the 5mm Modular Mouthpiece kit, it is about dialing in the exact configuration that you need to be able to get the utmost out of your playing. In addition to the kit, you will find that you get a bunch of information, including the individual components that have been sent to you, some guides about how to understand the numbering that goes on each component. You will also get some tools that you can use to assemble and disassemble the mouthpiece if you find that you've put them together a little bit too tight, and you will get a container of lubricant, of synthetic grease, that you can use to grease up the threads of the individual components to prevent them from sticking together. Now, I've used this kit quite a lot over the past little while, and I have one complaint that I want to bring to your attention, and that is with this tool here. See, this tool has got a couple of brass nipples here, and these brass nipples are designed to fit into the various holes that are on some of the components so that you can tighten them. For instance, if I've got the rim here, there's a little hole in that, and this little nipple goes into that hole to tighten it. Unfortunately, as you've just seen, these nipples come out, and trying to find one of them when it's fallen on the floor is a challenge. Unfortunately, that's just one of the things that is going to happen when you've got laser cut wood, especially when it's this sort of light wood like that. That I don't feel is the best solution to tightening and loosening your the components of your mouthpiece. The second complaint with this tool is that these parts here, where you tighten the back bore and some of the nuts that you can get, the different size nuts, the actual part where the component makes contact is a very thin piece of wood, and I've particularly found that they just simply aren't strong enough to do the job in hand. This one over here I can't use at all because this little tongue of wood here has been squashed. It's just not strong enough to do the job. But that is really my only complaint with the experience that you get with this mouthpiece kit. The last thing that I want to mention about the Harrelson experience is that when you buy a mouthpiece kit or you buy something, you pretty much the first time you have to make a guess of what components are going to work well for you. Their team and their technicians will give you the best advice that they can based on what you've said about your current equipment and what you do with your instrument, but there's often going to be a situation where you get some components, you test them out and think, I need to make a change here, or my sound in this particular case isn't working very well, or whatever. The Harrelson team will work with you to refine your components to get the solution that you're after without you having to pay every time for a new backbore or a new cup or a new rim or something like that. They will give you a grace period where you can swap parts out willy-nilly without having to reinvest in a new kit or new components. So this has been part one. Hopefully you're a little bit more familiar around Harrelson and the 5mm Modular Mouthpiece kit. Next time, on the next video that I do on the mouthpiece kit, we'll actually get to some playing. We'll show you what it sounds like, what the different combinations can do, and we'll compare that to some other off-the-shelf mouthpieces. Thanks very much for watching.